Chuen, thank you very much for the opportunity to interview you
Thank
today.
you. Thank you.
Thank you for taking time. Yes.
Very good to see you in person again.
Yeah, after how long? Probably
Maybe a year,
probably close to a year.
I think so.
Wow, yes, and it's amazing. Yeah. Looking at your journey on LinkedIn.
Yours too. That consistency is, we don't give enough credit to people who are consistent. End of the day, it makes the difference.
End of the day, it makes a difference.
It's the biggest difference.
So how long have you started the journey on doing on LinkedIn? I know that you are holding a very wonderful 26,000 followers. Yes.
Yeah, I started I think March 2018 with 300.
300? Wow, what's your secret to growing to 25,000?
So it goes to consistency. Yeah.
So your profile is very interesting given the career path that you have been in. You were previously an teacher, an educator.
Yes.
And then you transit into a entrepreneur role. So this transition and this shift, right? Were there any misconceptions that other people have about your job or your career?
Maybe one of the misconceptions is people think that I left the job because I was miserable, but it's not true. It's not true. To me, once a teacher, always a teacher. So even today, when I run my business, I still hold these foundational values of what an educator should have, like integrity, being ethical. That's why my content creation, I do not sensationalize. There are certain topics I will never talk about, like sexual orientation, religion. I will not make very polarizing statements, because coming from a place of an educator, it's about creating common ground, inclusive, safe space, creating a space where people can come together and have intellectual conversations by not being divisive. So people thought that I left because I was miserable, because I don't subscribe to the values of an educator, which is not true. And I think that also brings about another point, which is, how do you know when it's the time to change your career? You don't only change it when you're miserable, right? You can perfectly love your previous job enough, and still feel that tug and that pull towards something else. Second misconception, this one irks me a little bit. Like, they think that teachers don't have relevant transferable skills. I think that can't be more wrong.
Wow.
That can't be more wrong.
Will you consider like this shift, this transition from your educator career over to your entrepreneur career as following your passion?
Following passion, yes. I think following passion, leaving a legacy. Leaving a legacy. Of course, shaping the future of the nation is meaningful. But what I'm doing today is also meaningful, right? I'm shaping their parents, right? I'm shaping their workplaces, who will in turn impact societies, families, children. So we are just moving ourselves. I was just moving myself to another place in the connected ecosystem, so that I can make a bigger impact. So yeah, following passion and looking at how I can make a bigger impact.
What was your biggest challenge when you actually stepped up and you decided to start your own business?
Yeah. Shaping some of the underlying belief, like stability, iron rice bowl. Okay, in Singapore we call, if you are a public servant, you have iron rice bowl, right? 100% stability. Two, looking at your income that is highly variable, very volatile. So concept of safety needs to be changed. Concept of success. For Asian women, many times we will associate success with, oh, you are married, or you have children, or your kids and your family are all very happy. We rarely measure women's success by their career or their businesses, right? So that is something that has to be reshaped as well, redefined. My husband is great. He's a family man, very family centric. That's why I can go out and do my stuff, right? And then I'll be like, there's a little part of me is like, oh, Chuen Chuen, you're such a bad mom. You leave all these things to your heavy lifting to your husband. Bad mom. Next time your kids won't love you, and all those kind of things. So it's this little nagging thoughts that you will have. And so that was another challenge. And it took me some time, like working with my own coach, to question the validity of such beliefs. How does it impact my performance, how I show up in steering my own business, and eventually getting it out of the system, which does take quite a bit of work because we are rewiring the brain. Because that's the system I've been brought up in. I come from a traditional Chinese family. Yeah. I think that's the second one. The third difficult one is appealing to your ideal customer. Yeah, like because people will think that teachers don't have transferable skills, right? So one of those mistakes that I made was I assume everybody look up to teachers. Like they will look at this profession with respect. But I realized that not everybody sees it that way. So there were certain business deals that I lost right away because I told them I was a teacher. And immediately in their head, the first word that popped out in their mind is irrelevant, outdated. And that was a mistake I made. So then how do you establish your credibility when I clearly come from a very different professional background? Like people, my first clients were in the banks, financial services. I know nothing about front, middle, back office. I know nothing about risk management, but I learned it from my clients. So that very first step, how do you communicate to show that you are relevant and you have value, that you can serve them, was another thing that I had to learn.
You are very resilient. You didn't give up, and in fact you turned around pretty fast. You could have taken the easy way out by saying, oh no, this is not for me, because your client says that your teacher is irrelevant.
Yes.
And you could have moved back to your comfort zone, right?
Correct.
What makes you stay on?
What made me stay on? Actually, I was in this space of ding dong, ding dong. You want to do, you don't let to do. You want to do, you don't let to do. It's like, I'm sure you have watched this film about an old man wanting to get on the escalator, but he's like stepping, then he steps off, then he steps on, and also it's like that trepidation that you experience, like should I not? Should I not? So actually I was in that ding dong state for 5-6 years.
Oh wow.
While I stepped out from teaching only in 2017, I started learning coaching in 2011, 2012. Yeah, so it's a good 5+ years where I was playing with the idea. Am I good at it? Okay, I could establish quite quickly at the beginning that I'm good at it. I'm good enough at it. Am I enjoy it enough to want to sacrifice my sleep to do it, to coach clients who are from another time zone, like 10+ p.m. Singapore time. I'm coaching somebody from Europe, and you're willing to sacrifice your rest time to do it. So I could establish I'm good enough. I established I would enjoy it enough, but I wasn't sure if I can make a living out of it. So that is tied to the concept of stability. Still took me like 3 years after that, to finally step up, because I was preparing, learning how to run a business, imagining what are the skills I need, hearing good examples of how people did it, because the transitioning out from a salaried job to entrepreneurship is a big jump. Plus I have commitments. I have 3 boys, I have 3 sons.
Wow.
I have a house to pay off. I don't drive. I think that's my consolation. So my financial commitments, while low, is not zero. You see, we still got to be responsible for something. So looking at people who did it successfully, what were the mistakes they made? What can I learn from them? What are the negative examples? What were the things that some people tried and did and failed, and they went back to comfort zone? So I think that it is more the psychological preparation.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you see that your skill set as being an educator gives you a big head start?
Having this, I think that's my edge. That's my edge.
Right.
When I work with corporates now, businesses, adults, right? They could be younger, older, similar age as me. What differentiates people who are cutting edge, relevant, futuristic, ready for the disruptive world that we live in today is whether they have that joy for learning,
Right.
that sense of wonderment.
Yeah. Earlier you shared that you are a mom of 3 boys, and you are now running your own business and your coaching school. And at the same time, I also understand that you are also an author of your own book. Wow, where do you find the time to do so much things?
So that goes to that punchline, you know. So why I value consistency. I think talent is overrated.
Talent is overrated.
Talent is overrated. IQ is overrated. We can have a very smart person, highly intelligent person who's not consistent, you will not see results, right? When 2012, when I did my first serious personal development course, I flew to Orlando, attend this program by John Maxwell, leadership guru.
Yes.
And he's one of the most prolific writer we know. Many books, right? And they asked him, John, how do you write? So many books. So he said, how do you eat an elephant?
How do you eat an elephant?
You eat the elephant one bite at a time. So how do you write many books in your lifetime? One page at a time. So same, it all goes down to the law of consistency. We all have rich man, poor man, we all have the same currency, 24 hours a day. A lot of things are happening in our lives. But what you do with the pockets of time is the differentiating factor. If you have a clear goal, you will find time to do it. You will make time to make it happen.
Right.
For me, when I wrote my book, okay, of course I never expected it because, for goodness sake, I taught mathematics. I didn't teach language. My language is like so, you know, and I was a computer engineer by training. Languages were never a big thing in my life. But I was able, because of the clients that I work with, right? So I don't call my business a coaching school, it's a coaching business, it's an executive coaching. So I serve them as an executive coach. But because of the broad range of clients I work with, I could see patterns. And once you see patterns, you want to mull on it, right? And turn it into something useful. So that's where I could draw parallels, see patterns. That's how my first book came about. That's how I had 8 paradoxes, because they are the 8 typical scenarios that will stress people out. They will tie themselves up in a knot. They can't wiggle their way out because they think about the world in a black and white.
Right.
Yeah. So I draw this out so that it helps them see the grayness in everything we deal with and decide a way to move forward. Yeah, so that's how the book came about, but it was a long process, 15 months to write it. Second time I wrote it is faster because I already know how to do it.
Like you say, how to eat an elephant.
How to eat an elephant one bite at a time. Yeah, one bite at a time.
That's very motivating to know that we can actually take our time and consistency to also write a book. So do you feel that anybody can, as long as they put in the effort and they follow the way of eating an elephant, they will be able to achieve certain things that they want in life. Consistency, as you say.
Consistency, important. Would everybody be able to do it? I feel the method needs to be right as well. We need to be directionally correct.
Okay.
Okay, when we say, okay, I'm going to put in my effort consistently, which direction am I heading? For all you know, you are heading the wrong direction. And then the more you consistently practice going in that way, then you are making a mistake permanent. Right?
Okay.
Practice doesn't make perfect.
Right.
Practice makes permanent.
Practice makes permanent.
Permanent. So if you write a book in the wrong way, you will get nowhere. You will get nowhere. One of the traps that authors get into is they try to make it perfect in the first time. It gets you nowhere. Because you are writing, rewriting, and you just cannot move past that one chapter.
With no purpose.
With no purpose. So you need to have the skeleton, then you start hanging the little pieces in the right compartments, then you go for the flow, then you go for the readability, then you go for the perfection.
Wow.
Anyway, things will never be perfect. So I think directionally you need to know where you are heading.
Could you list some advice to give to people who are interested to start up or to transit from their corporate role out to become an entrepreneur?
Right. We need to have a healthy sense of realism. Be very clear on why we want to make the change. And also be realistic about the sacrifices you need to make. When I left my job, I had an in-between job. So I left schools, I had an in-between job to learn business and everything. I took a 50% pay cut.
Wow.
But it's not sustainable for the long run. So we have to be realistic how long we can take smaller pay. Because I was in my prime. I mean, I am in my prime, like in my early 30s, mid-30s.
Right now, going towards even better.
Yeah, I hope so. So I think being realistic. So when people tell me I can quit, I say, are you sure? Because you never know, you may quit and you expect you be enjoying life for 3 months. It can become a 2-year unemployment. Are we ready? We have our family, our parents to take care of. Can we play that role?
Do we have a safety net?
Definitely. You need to have a safety net. You have a partner, you have a spouse. You got to talk these things out, okay? I think that's that first piece. And number 2 is, do I really need to leave my job? Because am I so miserable? Can I change something in my mindset that help me see my job in a different way? Can I focus on my locus of control and change things when I can so that I am more meaningfully engaged in my job? A lot of times when people say they want to move out from salaried position into entrepreneurship, it may not be the right call for them. Yeah, it may not be the right call. I know I want to do it because control is a big thing for me. I want to deliver my services the way I think is correct, the way I feel is ethical. And it fulfills it makes my pedagogical sense. So there's that. You feel proud of what you are delivering.
Of your creation.
Yeah.
Your legacy.
Correct, the legacy. But not everyone is wired. So there's nothing wrong with being a salary employee. So I would say please think twice. Please explore all possible ways for you to turn your work into a more meaningful one.
Right.
We are not subjected to, because most of my clients are salary employees. They are miserable. They're not. They can be very happy. And we need great leaders in every workplace. My second book is called Leaders People Love. They are not all entrepreneurs, right? And most people will be in a salaried position. So if they are good in what they do, they are good leaders, I encourage them to please stay there. Because then you will change more lives, good managers does wonders to someone's well-being, self-esteem,
Probably
happiness.
they are very comfortable there. If you ask them to step out, then it might be more stressful.
Whether there's a reason to, good enough reason to. But if they do feel that entrepreneurship is for them, there's something so different that a job cannot give them.
So through your entrepreneur journey, right, there is up and there's down, right? So how do you handle your uptime? And how do you handle your downtime? I mean, your personal wellness. Was there any certain routines that you follow?
Yeah, I had hyperthyroidism twice.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But by certain research papers, it's triggered by high stress. when you're so I actually don't think of myself as an entrepreneur. I'm a solopreneur. Solo means you succeed, you cheer on your own. You fail, you cry on your own.
Ah,
Nobody else to share it with. You're on your own. So the loneliness is real.
yeah. Isn't that more mentally stress?
It is mentally. So the mental strain is definitely there. I think that's how the hyperthyroidism came up. What was your question again?
How do you handle the wellness?
How do I handle the wellness? Lifelong. It's a lifelong journey. You need to know yourself. Like earlier I said, know how you learn. How you learn fast, learn best. What you want to learn. Know your body. Understand what kind of situations would trigger you. Everybody has some triggers. Have the courage to confront them. The self-work, deep work is very important.
Right.
You cannot give what you don't have. Right? Like if I'm coaching executives how to manage stress, manage expectations, regulate emotions, I can't show them if I myself can't do it. Right? So wellness, first I started with saying, the usual eating well, go for workouts. We actually think maybe no pain, no gain. So we normalize the pain. But that's very unhealthy. Because we will suppress. We will ignore until it manifests into something that you cannot ignore.
Right.
There's a wellness coach that I worked with before. She runs a business as well. And she talks about disease is dis-ease. When you feel uneasy,
Yes.
it will manifest into actual, tangible illnesses. So in my case, it's hyperthyroidism. So these are the exercising the intelligent choices for yourself.
Right.
Yeah. To make
Thanks
sure
for
you.
sharing that. Yeah. The other 3 books that you can recommend the listeners?
First one, Who Moved My Cheese? Actually, I don't remember exactly what was written in there, but as a young adult or maybe a old teenager, I remember reading it and I felt very enlightened. I felt like we don't need to blame. Don't blame other people. They didn't do anything to us. It's up to us to go and find that cheese. Right? It's nobody's fault. And if we are stuck in a zone where we are complaining about why is this wrong, where have the cheese moved, it's so unfair, it's not helpful to anybody. So rather, let's go find my next cheese. Right? So this mindset I feel is very more healthy. Like of course in business we will win some opportunities, we will lose some. Don't need to be angry.
That's a good book.
Yeah, don't need to be angry. And I think for aspiring authors, look at the word count in Who Moved My Cheese. So low. Font size very big. Very easy to read.
It's one of the hot sellers.
Yes, it's one of the best books I've read. Easy to read. Simple concept. Universally applicable. So that's also how I try to write my first book. Yeah, make it that way. So easy to read, change lives. Second book, The Fifth Discipline by Peter Senge.
Okay.
Understand, I think systems thinking is very important. We always think about ourselves in isolation and as center of the universe. We are the center of our universe. We are at the same time we are part of a larger system. We need to know the interactions between them.
Right.
And in the Fifth Discipline, they also talk about the learning organization. It's a very old book, old management book. But that is what a lot of organizations need now because their current practices don't allow the organization to learn. And when they stop learning, like human beings become irrelevant. Right?
Yeah.
And back to my first point, the only time you stop learning is when you lie in a coffin. So that's why you see this. There's this term called constructive destruction. Constructive destruction. Organizations' lifespan is becoming shorter and shorter. In the next 20, 30 years, your S&P 500 will all be new players. None of those businesses that you know today would exist. That is a prediction because lifespans of organizations is shrinking. And if you don't learn, you can't stay ahead of the curve, right? So, Fifth Discipline, good book to read. Little bit challenging to read because very wordy, abstract, but I feel it's good. The third one is how to take smart notes. Actually, I got it in my bag. I'm reading that book to prepare for my Doctor of Business Administration program.
Wow.
So I'm going to start in Q4
Wow,
this year.
how you manage to find the time to do so many?
Eat the elephant one bite at a time. Right? And that one, I think it's a good consolidation of my life's experience so far, how to take smart notes. It's a German book, but it's translated into English, and using this Zettelkasten method to learn, create ideas, find connections, and use a way to write it in a way so that you have a second brain, so that you are freeing up your brain space to find connections.
Right.
I think for people, the mental load is very high. Like I have to remember this, I remember. Like, like we say, how to reduce stress. You have to maintain a short to-do list because every undone thing, incomplete item in your to-do increases your stress level because you can't get it off your mind. And it's true. It is true. When I read the book, I said, oh, so there's this famous guy who said this. Okay, so what I'm experiencing, what I'm noticing is true. And so that one will show you how you can function more optimally, learn faster, put more meaningful things in your head. Instead of remembering things, why don't you put an idea there and let it grow? Questions, big questions to think about, meditate over, mull over. That's that one book. It's a very thin book, but I thoroughly enjoy it. And I understand why people forget how to learn. And what is now needed, potentially, maybe that's a research topic, to help organizations bring back creative thinking into the workplace. Quite needed these days.
Thank you for sharing that, Chuen. And well, thank you for your time today. Thank you for the opportunity again to interview you.
Thank you.